Blessings, blessings, blessings. I hope you guys can hear me and see me. Let's see. I hope you guys having a great, great late night. We will be doing another reaction. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Miss Grace. We'll be doing a reaction video today. You're going to be seeing me do a series of a few reaction videos. We're going to be focusing on finding the pedos. We're going to be exposing the pedos. Some reaction videos are going to highlight white supremacy in its real ugly face, the spiritual implications. We're going to go into that. And also, we're going to do reaction videos related to all of the numerous ICE videos that I'm coming across right now where ICE is getting arrested. Okay, so today you see what the topic is. It is Democrat, Republicans, and independent elected officials will be on the Epstein list. Okay, so today we found a video. We're gonna watch two videos, okay? One highlighting an ex-Congress member or someone trying to run for Congress who you guys may have seen, but probably went over your head just like it went over my head because at the time this was going on, I was younger, but I was aware that something was going on that was not copacetic. Hold on, let me make sure that I'm able to show you. Give me 1 second. And it's very alarming to me that we actually have people who can still run for Congress, elected official position, and they have history of sexual assault, child sex, ex trafficking. We're gonna call them pedophiles, and it's another word. We'll come up with something catchy. But um, this time that this guy who we're gonna be talking about today, let me get myself on the screen. Give me 1 second, because we're still working out our kinks on screen streaming. But I'm glad we're here. This guy that we're going to be looking at today is this is ridiculous. This happened like 20 2016, and this gentleman name is Nate Larson. Do y'all know who Nate Larson is? Now, he's not a Democrat or a Republican, but allegedly late Nate Larson is a gentleman who's an independent, and I'm being nice, calling him a gentleman, who ran for Congress as an independent. So let's look at this. He was going for District 10 in 2018. So independent ran for election for the U.S. House Representative for Virginia 10th Congressional District. He did not appear on the ballot for the general election November 6, 2018. Now, let's get to the juicy stuff because I want you guys to know that he ran for a particular position. And again, he's still able to do it with a lot of these crazy ways of thinking. We're going to watch this. It says Nate Larson has been an independent party, but but he was identified as a Democrat. So just giving you a heads up, the video that we watched, he said that he was a Democrat, but I did my little research, found out that he's not. He was an independent. But during the time he was running a campaign that highlighted the right for pedophilia. Okay. This gentleman was arrested for basically sex trafficking a 12-year-old young girl who he groomed online, and he was traveling across state lines, Denver International Airport in 2020, where he was arrested. Now we're gonna get some of those videos, but what we're gonna do now is just get to the original reaction video that I want to share with you guys, because I gotta give this content creator his love and his respect, because this person that came on his show, he's been trying to get this out. So this is Sean Ryan clip. Shout out to the Sean Ryan show. If y'all don't know, y'all should know. I watch everything, everything, everything. I don't discriminate. Okay, information is information and facts is facts. So that's what we do here. So let's play this together and see what he has to say. Now this says how a hacker uncovered a politician running a child predator website. So this gentleman not only was arrested for this in 2020, he was the person behind this child pedophilia website that allegedly this gentleman had went to many elected officials and the police about, and they ignored him. They totally ignored him. So let's watch this together and we're going to have some good commentary. I want y'all guys to get down into the comments. Let's start talking about this, because this can be your child, this can be your daughter. I need you guys to get out of the not me and get into this can happen to anyone, because it has been happening to anyone. So let's go. Thank you for being here too. Now I do want to highlight that some of this stuff is going to sound very graphic, but we going to talk about it. Again, I want to highlight, well, I haven't highlighted this to you before, but it is known that a lot of sexual assault and child abuse starts in the home. It starts with the immediate friend, family, sometimes being the immediate caregiver. And I'm not surprised. Shout out to Candace Owens. I'm not saying that she saw what the email was about, but you have to understand that these people are bought and paid for. As I still listen to a lot that's going on with Charlie Kirk, this man was trapped. And he was bought and paid for, but he was trapped. So to hear that he sent it to her, and other people who have big platforms, and they didn't respond, it's not surprising, because a lot of them are bought and paid for. That's why we need you to support small content creators like me, like Miss Grace, who brings you unbiased. And I'm not saying unbiased like the other people. I don't care. Literally, I'm not affiliated with no one. Don't care about nobody's money, and you would never buy me because I'm not materialistic, and I'm so used to being I guess what they call a renegade and someone who walks a narrow path. Baby, hit the like button, because I'm going to give you the real and unbiased from any side that it comes from. Again, we're trying to get to 10,000 views, and this is what we're doing, our reaction late night. So let's go. Look at, look at that guy. I look at him. So allegedly, he was picked up. That's what he's trying to say, and Maybe he didn't have no DNA on him or evidence. I don't know what he was talking about, but we're going to try to dig in a little bit into that because obviously there were encounters with officers of the law. Again, shout out to Polk County Sheriff. No Polk County top deputy. You know who we talking about? Who be hiding them pedos? You tell them what's going on, and that can't happen. That's not the truth. Remember, when you bring a police report to a police, he's literally supposed to just take the report. I don't think that they have the right to determine what's is prosecutable and not. I know they have to have some discretion when it comes to making arrests, but baby, when it comes to making reports, these officers are disgusting. And they pick and choose what's going to make it to the detective unit or going to be in front of the prosecutor. So, so what he's saying is that he did a little game of fishing. And sometimes that can be known as entrapment too, because I was watching something else where this officer got in trouble because he was calling. I gotta tell y'all stories in the middle of stuff. He was calling people the women, the lizard women. Y'all know who the lizard women that be on them trucks, be selling they pootie tang. He was calling them, um, and asking them for services, knowing that they had drug problems, possibly have guns on them, and then on the way to meet him, he will lock them up. Okay. So he ended up being fired, big lawsuits towards that police station. And it was entrapment. So I think that's what he was talking about. Because when you do investigations and you do certain things, you have to do it in a manner where you're not entrapping people. It's called the Fourth Amendment, right? Your constitutional right not to incriminate yourself. Oh, I want to say shout out to my hackers because he's a hacker. Shout out to Anonymous. Without my connections with Anonymous, I probably couldn't even get this far as far as streaming and having people see my video because I was hacked and I was gang stalked. Just to let y'all know. So shout out to Anonymous. I appreciate you. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Why nobody telling me y'all can't hear it? What's your problem? What is your problem? Let me see something. I thought y'all could hear it. Hold on. I'm surprised. I wonder why they can't hear it. Hold on 1 second. People weird. They'll sit there and just watch you. Why I gotta be so weird? Hold on 1 second. That is so weird. Let's try it. Oh, you think because I got my headphones on? Let's add it to the screen. All right, let me take my headphones on, guys. Let's see. Let's see. Could you hear it? Oh my god. I'm I'm gonna beat y'all. I got people coming in and then y'all going to not say nothing. StreamYard is being weird today, huh? It's StreamYard. All right, I'm surprised. I can't hold on one second, y'all. We're gonna figure this out. I know what I'm gonna do. Let me see. Remove. Y'all can hear all the y'all can hear all the rest of the stuff. Give me give me 1 second, y'all. Hey, sorry y'all. That is so weird. I don't know what happened with StreamYard. All right, so this what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to connect one more time. Let's see. I don't know if I was because I was on another Google account. Let's play it and see what happened.
My friend's wife. It was multiple photos of screenshots of this website. A switch flipped in my brain, and I left my friend's house and
There we
immediately.
go. Okay, guys, thank you for your patience. Basically, I had some things mixed up. I was streaming on one Google account and I had the information pulled up on another Google account. So let's get to it. If you don't know what's happening, I gave you a good introduction while I thought y'all was listening to the video. I can't believe you have people come in here and literally just look at you and they can't hear anything. Y'all gotta do better. Let's watch this. This is weird. Let's go.
as I got the text. The story I told you about the bathtub situation where there was a father who posted their child in the bathtub. It said underneath of it, they have no idea what's going to happen to them tonight. And underneath of that, there were people that were part of this website who were saying what they were going to do to this child. I instantly went to the exploited children tip line. Then I reached out to a bunch of news stations, talked to a ton of reporters, and all of them were super excited to talk to me.
What news stations?
Sun Sentinel, Daily Mail, Business Insider, Fox, some influencers, Ronan Farrow, Candace Owens, they both didn't read my messages. Once it got back from
Now,
legal,
this is what I was talking about when y'all heard me talking about Candace Owens and a lot of these big platforms not responding to controversy, things like that. This is what I was talking about. So I'm gonna let y'all listen a little bit to get caught up. I'm not gonna repeat the commentary, but you already know this is graphic to hear. It's a little cringy, but my main question is how are these people able to run for elected positions, one with sketchy backgrounds, allegation of sexual assault, and these crazy, um how can I say, running points? Because this guy was a weirdo, and I remember seeing him when I was younger, because this happened in like 2017. So I guess I was just having my no, well, yeah, having my kids or whatever. Yeah, and I didn't take it too serious when you saw the news say, "Hey, is a public official that's trying to push maps, where adult like kids." I didn't take it serious, but it is serious, especially today and knowing what's going on.
they weren't allowed to report on it because the owner of the website happened to be a Democratic politician. His name is Nathan Larson, completely ignored.
Completely ignored it. A quote from Nathan Larson. I'm going to read it. It's not enough to just let her know what you love her for the most.
Like with girls, believe that fathers to make those decisions.
It's disgusting.
He gets arrested 6 months later with a 12-year-old at a layover at an airport.
The guy with the daughter in the bathtub.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know where he went. He's part of the database. It started because of the frustration that nothing happened, and the entirety of the case was thrown out because there was no shower inside of Walmart. So there's no way he could have showered.
You've got to be me. How did Project Veritas get involved with it?
They saw the podcast of me talking about the website, and they said, well, I want to help you bring justice to this FBI. You failed. Everybody failed me. I felt like they failed me. You helped me an absolute ton because I was panicking, man. I was panicking because I wanted the information out there, but I didn't know what to expect because technically what I did at that time was not legal. My intentions were obviously good. So we started a conversation, and I wanted to get the story out there no matter what way it went out. I didn't care if it went out from a left wing, right wing, in between wing. It didn't matter. I was very blown away by a small account blowing up the way that it blew up. So I reach out. I'm sorry. I start speaking with you. We arrange a podcast, which, if you remember, Project Veritas was involved in
I
this.
remember.
So this is what I want to get into. What happened?
Listen to this, y'all, because Project Veritas was very prominent in what was going on as far as disclosure for the COVID. I loved it. I mean, they were on it like kryptonite. They were all in the Pfizer representative's face, catching them at the meetings, everything. But when the original CEO basically lost his position, I forgot his name. I had did a little short on that. Everything changed, and I had a feeling when he lost his position and that female came in and took his spot that she was bought and paid for, because what ended up happening is that Project Veritas, they basically was running with a board, and that's how it's supposed to be. When you run with a board, the board has the right to choose who's going to be the CEO, how the business is going to move forward. And that's how he ended up getting kicked out of his position. He's going to say his name, but I really have mad respect for the original CEO of Project Veritas. something severely changed when that lady came in, and it was like it was washed down. They wasn't reporting the same and everything. And this guy's gonna confirm it.
with that. So so actually, this is the way I really want to put it: is nobody had the balls to talk about this story because, and I proved that with the media. I showed them what needed to be out there. It was black and white how bad this website was, and I had evidence that you could not refute of all of the people involved, and they just ignored me. And you saw that 1 minute clip and said, you know what? I'm going to risk my whole channel. I'm going to risk everything just because I want to get this kid that I don't even know, meaning me. I want to get this kid's message out there. And you have no idea how much I appreciate that and how many kids that's actually helped. Not just from me, from you, man. Like without you, without obviously all the things that led up to you, none of that would have happened, you know? And I am beyond grateful for that. And it's opened up so many doors, which I'll obviously get into in this episode, but beyond blessed, super grateful for it. And, you know, one thing that's frustrating is, and I have a good and bad thing to say about Project Veritas and why I wanted to tie them into this story is Project Veritas is the first journalist group to reach out to me that I was willing to, because they said, we'll come with, we'll fly overnight. We'll be there the next day. So they were in New York. I was in Florida. And they said, we'll come out and check out the database and we will investigate it. So of course I was like, yeah, come out, let's do it. I'm anybody who wants to run this story, let's go. This is right about the time James O'Keefe left or was fired, whatever
Mr.
happened
O'Keefe.
there.
That's who it is, Mr. James O'Keefe. I like him.
Matter to me, to be honest with you. They fly out to Florida. I hand them the data, and all of their journalists, all their reporters, the ones that I worked with directly, were passionate and wanted to work on this project, and they spent days / weeks / months of their life on this project. So I can't say a single negative thing about the team that I worked with there. They were all great and they cared a ton about this case.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is James's replacement, her name is Hannah Giles.
Mm-hmm.
She came in as the interim CEO while they were trying to figure out what was going on. And at that point, if you remember, there were 7,000 people in that database from the original database. And Project Veritas, the goal was to go out to confront these people face to face with hidden cameras and ask them about their participation on the website. So like that meaning like not just you were on the site, but here's the forum posts that you made, here's the private messages that you had with other users, like expose these people.
Now,
so they exposed a couple of them, they put it out publicly. And
this is
we identified
a hacker who exposed an how can I say elected official or almost elected official, Nathan Larson. He ran for Congress at least 3-4 times. He was on a local news saying how he want to make it legal for adults to marry kids, a little bit out of pocket. This is who he's talking about. Now, he ended up finding out that the website that he came upon belonged to Mr. Nathan Larson. Okay, so just giving you a heads up when he's talking about this website, because some of you guys are popping in and out, but this is what he's talking about. And just clarification, he states that Nathan Larson is a Democrat, but to my research, he's a liberal. Regardless, 3 pies in the pad, Democrat, Republic, whatever, everybody's doing something crazy at this point. So let's go.
500 of the 7,000 without a shadow of a doubt. 500 of the 7,000 were identified at the time when Hannah Giles became the interim CEO. They wanted her, I'm assuming Hannah, wanted the New York Post or New York Times to release a story on it. And that was their main focus, which at that time, I remember, we were talking about it. When you're talking about circulation, it's like social media has a way bigger circulation than them. Then Hannah says to me, I'm on the phone with her, and she tells me that my story is not a tidal wave. That's the words verbatim that this woman used, and she shut it down. So,
well, boy, she fucked that one up, didn't she?
She really did.
No, they didn't mess it up because she was probably hiding from somebody she know, allegedly.
Not only because of how big this story got and how many kids, how much impact that database made on some of the predator networks following it as well, but the sad part of this is with Project Veritas, 500 of the 7,000 identified, 13 of which of the 500 were convicted of sex crimes with children after I originally reported the information to, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the tip lines, the task force, all the media. So, just.
So this is what we really need to hone in on to. I'm just saying. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. You need to find out what are they doing, who's running it, what type of money is running through it. Are our kids are they safe there? Because a lot of these nonprofits are shell companies for really, really bad behavior, criminal activity, and a whole lot of political crap. Just like what started to notice about Turning Point and all of the millions of dollars that went through Turning Point. Literally started off with 26,000 at the beginning of the year, 3,300. What did it say? $30 million went through in 1 year and end up with 27,000 on the books at the end. Yeah, that's how they wash and run money through these fake nonprofits and these government connected businesses. And that's how Trump got a lot of you mega people. That's how Doge got away with lying to the people and gutting out the system by basically saying it's a lot of waste and fraud going on. These companies are not who they are supposed to be. This ain't new. They knew that. They've been knew that. A lot of the companies, just like the Turning Point, there's a second company under Turning Point that people don't even know. And that's where majority of the money was being washed through. But let's just get back to this because I wanted to give y'all some examples. Just kind of get into it a little bit more. Let's bring truth to power. Truth to power.
Ironically, the average offender has 13 victims in a lifetime, but 13 different cases occurred after I reported it. And then she shuts it down. So that's 500 of the 7,000. Who knows how many didn't get caught? And who knows how many more, how many victims just, were.
And he's talking about Hannah, the reporter, all these mainstream people where y'all get your news from. That's where they credible. No, they're not credible.
It could have been prevented if someone would have just taken me seriously. And you did, man. You did. Project Veritas, as much as they, may get some hate or whatever, I don't have any opinion on anything else they've ever done other than what they've done with me. And their journalists were good to me. Their interim CEO, I don't like the way that she treated this situation. And I have no problem saying that. And yeah, man, I just want to. Nobody else did.
Well, it's my honor, man. But I forgot about the Veritas stuff because we had to coordinate release of the episode with them.
Yeah,
I forgot about that, and there was some other publication that they're like, we got to wait and see if this goes. And dude, what we have here is 10 times any of the publications that they're talking about, and this is gonna fucking sing the most viewed, most downloaded, biggest episode I've ever done, still to this date. And and I remember reaching out to you. I remember the FBI stuff. The FBI wouldn't take you seriously. I was so upset, and also this is like, you were the first person that I dove into this subject with because I had heard so much about it, but I don't trust nonprofits. But me and you talk a lot about that offline. I just don't trust them anymore. I've seen too many that started off with good intentions that go, Ray, and it becomes all about fucking raising money and not about whatever the actual mission.
Exactly. Just how our government turned out to be, where it's not about the people, it's about the money and the president's agenda. How corrupt.
Was, and you didn't have any of that, and I could tell, like, on that post, I was like, this guy's just trying to get information out. And so yeah, reached out, tried to coordinate everything with Veritas. They wanted to do the story, and I remember telling you something along the lines like, fuck these people, dude, let's just run it.
Yeah, well, you actually had people that you had in line to put their episodes out before mine, and you rushed my episode for them.
Yeah,
like you did them a huge favor.
Yeah,
and then they just screwed. it up. They could have done a lot more good. Like I said, they're journalists. If it was up to them, it would have happened.
I don't think it could have gone any better than it did, to be honest with you. Everything that happened, I think happened because what we did, like you enlightened me for starters, because I've gone on to do several episodes. After you about it, I interviewed Jim Caviezel. We went to the premiere of Sound of Freedom together. Interviewed Tim Tebow, interviewed Jaron Hudson, interviewed Victor Marks. Like, you were the start of all of that. And I still continue to talk about it, to this day. But, I think what we did, man, is we just created like the perfect storm. And time doesn't slow down. Really, you shouldn't either.
All right, y'all.
We all sit around.
Let me get it a little bit further. We're going to watch this. And then I have another video that I want to go over with you guys, how a billionaire pretended to be a pedo to help save children. I don't know if y'all watched that, but we're going to watch it together.
Talk about on certain platforms.
Right.
I remember thinking, you know what? Fuck it. We're not monetizing this. I want to fly under the radar. I don't give a shit. If they shut everything down, it ended trying to pump some good into the world, and I'm like 100% fine with that.
And that takes balls. Like, for the third time, it takes balls, and I appreciate that. And to be honest with you, and I know I gave you a warning beforehand, but this one is just as deep and dear to my heart. And I have some stuff that I really, really need parents to know.
I feel you, brother. When you have to warn somebody that what you about to tell them or you dealing with is something that they may want to run away from. I feel you. I have had a lot of talks because truth tellers tell the truth beyond any measure. We don't care. So we know a lot of people we deal with that may have those connections because y'all care so much. We have to be, very honest with you. I have found myself saying that a lot. Like, I don't even want you to tell nobody you know me because I'm a truth teller and everybody in that particular place, they don't like the truth. This is sad. This is what we're dealing with. And that's why we have a bunch of our kids being monostoled. I'm saying it in another way. You know what I'm saying? And PDF'd because of us. It is. It's true. I'm sorry you have to go through this, sir, but I'm with you.
And it's going to be rough. And I think that, you guys, whoever's watching this, you're going to hear a lot of beeping.
Yeah.
But it's important that you listen to what I have to tell you today.
Yeah, I want to say, this is going to be a very educational episode. I'm not familiar with everything that you're going to put out because, we save that stuff for the actual conversation. So it's 100% in the moment and legitimate reactions and all that kind of stuff and legitimate curiosity. But I want to say I could imagine that we're going to have to edit some stuff out of this episode for the purpose that it lives and gets to where it needs to go. And so if you want to watch the unedited version of this discussion, it's going to be over on Vigilance Elite Patreon. So links in the description, you can go there, and that's enough of that. But I wanted to say, man,
mind you, we're only going to watch this 16-minute clip, and I'm going to put the full 2-hour video so you guys can watch it because I want to watch. And we've talked. I want to watch how the billionaire pretended to be a pedo to save kids' lives. That's the one we're going to watch in full. But this one right here, we're going to leave the description. The information in the description, and it's a 2-hour video. Okay, but I just wanted you guys to start to see and get ready because there's going to be plenty of elected officials, rich billionaires, your favorite stars that's going to be exposed for some really vile things. So if you thought that Puffy was having parties by himself and he was using all of that baby oil himself, your imagination is gonna expand. Okay.
Talked about it a lot offline and especially at the very beginning after the episode when you were trying to figure out where you want to go and because I think this was a segue into you having a much bigger role in the fight against exploitation and trafficking. But what we did, man, is I jeopardized everything. You did too. But what wound up happening was we educated millions and millions of parents. We educated millions and millions and millions of kids on how this happens, prove to them how fast it happens. Dude, I will never forget when you made the screen name Ashley 13, because I was like, how, this isn't like, there's no way this shit happens this much. So I wanted to time you to see how, I figured we'd be there all fucking day.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Dude,
not.
it was like 5 seconds.
Yep.
And
And guess where they find them and encountering our kids on Roblox and all of these other AI platforms. Yes. Yes. It's so crazy because when my daughter was younger, she's 21 now. That's how old Roblox was. She was Roblox queen. And I used to like Roblox because I thought it used to help their mind, build like, houses. They could build houses, stores. My daughter used to act like she was going to work and they would have encounters with other people in the game. And that's when I know I was like, Dad, this is weird. And then you'll see some people fighting in the background and things like that. And I'm gonna be honest, as a parent, I think I should have been a little bit more diligent to take that away from them, even though everything I did, they just complained anyway. Um, because there's just some things like thought patterns that I feel like my kids have that's weird. I'm like, why do they think like that? Like I didn't raise them like that. But it was things that they was possibly exposed to, especially my daughter, because she be trying to live her best life. And I'm like, where did she get this behavior from? Like, where did she learn to be like this? And it is literally because the things that they're exposed to online. So it's good that they have taken an opportunity, such as what we're doing here, and educating people on what's real, what's really going on. Don't be afraid to take your kids' video game, limit them. I know you feel bad. I be feeling bad too. You gotta understand how bad I used to feel because I homeschooled them, so they was not barely outside. If I took anything away from them, it was like 10 times the punishment. But at the end of the day, what they become in the end is what we're going to deal with, honestly. And a reflection of what we're dealing with our young kids, they're very like, I it's a high rate of HIV and AIDS among young people and out here in Atlanta. And these people have no regards for their status. They are I had someone I was watching that basically was cursing the whole internet out, saying, "Hey, I'm undetectable. I can have with whoever I want to, and I don't gotta tell them." This is the mentality. So the reason why I'm talking about this because this is a social mentality that's causing this to flare up. These people are not just doing it by themselves. Um, if we were vigilant, they wouldn't even have the time or the opportunity. As he said, he brought it to Candace Owens, Project Veritas, and other big platform, Hannah, to say, hey, I got the proof. This the website. This guy is a liberal, independent, whatever he is. And nothing. Nothing. We have to save ourselves. That's why I say all the time, I'm a separatist. I separate myself from the nonsense and the BS. And 9 out of 10, that's our government. Period. We're going to have to figure this out ourselves. Yep. Because they're not going to stop it. Let's go.
And that just proved to, like I said, millions and millions and millions of parents and kids, like this is how common this is. This is how fast it can happen. And then on the other hand, we scared a metric shit ton
Predators.
of
Yeah.
predators.
I know
Oh, yeah.
that's right.
And so it really was the perfect storm. But you know, some other context. I mean, now I'm like going back and forth. Now I'm like remembering all the things that happened like right after the episode. And I mean, we blasted the FBI on that episode.
Yeah, we definitely
We didn't
did.
actually, we didn't blast them. We just expressed what happened when you got the information to the FBI and how they totally fucking dismissed it and how interested they were after the episode came out.
So look, exactly. Look at that. So guys, don't be afraid. I mean, don't be afraid. Don't feel no way when the FBI don't respond to what for us. because I have wrote a letter to the FBI about COINTELPRO and activists coming in the black community doing certain things, and they don't care. So if they ain't care about this, I ain't even gonna feel no way. That's why I made that video about Kanika Jenkins, about Kendrick Johnson, about Shanquilla. They were failed by our system. They were failed by the FBI. So he even brought it to them. So y'all gonna keep on saying that we're gonna be able to depend on this system? I hope this presidency show y'all what's really going on and allow you guys to open your eyes, because we cannot wait anymore to be self-sufficient as citizens in the United States. Point blank period.
Remember that? Remember
Yeah.
how much they wanted to help? I know you guys are like maybe talking right now. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
mean, everything I do now is in parallel with law enforcement. So
cool.
yeah, I'll get into more of what that
I
means.
will hope they're not
But
hindering his investigation.
yeah, I remember being extremely fearful. I was like, these people aren't trying to help you. They didn't help you the first
Yep.
time. There's 7,000 names on that list. And that was developed, that website was developed by a politician. They're trying to, every motherfucker on there is calling in favors, trying to get their name redacted from
I
that
remember.
damn
Do you
list.
remember? I was
So this is not even an Epstein list. Oh, we're gonna follow up with this one. We're gonna give this a whole episode. This is ridiculous. They have another Epstein list.
I was so scared of, because I took the, as you said, it was a risk for me. I was scared my door was going to get kicked in. They were like, I don't have anything to worry about, but I don't want to lose all my electronics or end up getting charged with something that I go to trial for and all this stuff. And I'm calling you at like 11, 12 o'clock at night. You got Tim Parlatour helping me out. You got all these people, telling me like, yo, do this, do that, do that. Like, make sure you don't do this, don't do that. Like I got you. You helped me an absolute ton. Back, because I was panicking, man. I was panicking because I wanted the information out there, but I didn't know what to expect, because technically what I did at that time was not legal. My intentions were obviously good.
He's so lucky, because they would have tried to lock him up for being a do-gooder. They would have locked him up.
I would say it's more gray than black hat, but it was, I obtained that information illegally. So I was scared. I was genuinely scared, and it was very new territory to me. I know now a lot more than I did. And as I said in the beginning, if I had to go to trial for this and I had to stand in front of 12 jurors or jury, like, I have a hard time believing that people would say that I'm a criminal for taking down a predator organization. But I genuinely was scared at that time.
No.
But this is a shout out to the Sean Hannity show. But guess what? When you go in front of a jury of your peers, the judge controls how can I say, the way the law is applied. So even if you had good intentions, and I'm not being fictitious, because I love what he did, they would have found the way to prosecute him based on actions. But our system pick and choose who they're gonna do that with. But at the end of the day, what we're gonna do is move on into our next reaction clip, and we're gonna be coming back with that, probably part 2 next weekend, where we're gonna highlight that full video, or if we find something else for you guys. Now we're gonna go to this one next, where you have a billionaire pretty much figure out that X trafficking is happening, and he started to pretend to be a pedo. I would hope he was totally pretending, but he pretended to be a pedo so he can buy these kids. And this is not the first time that I heard this, because there was another sting where they were using the same method. So let's share this one. The last one was from the Sean Hannity show. How a hacker uncovered politician running as a PETA. And this one is, oh no, that's Epstein survivor. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Here we go. How a billionaire pretends to buy children to save them. So let's get here. Thank you for stopping by tonight. We do reactions on the weekends, late night. And we're going to be doing reactions to white supremacy. We're also going to be the dismantle of white supremacy, because you know, Is it frozen? Hold on a second. Because you know, y'all know y'all love us. That's why I'm saying that. Because our white brothers and sisters love us and they need to figure out what's going on. So we're going to be doing the dismantling of white supremacy, as well as we're going to be showing you other ICE officers who's being arrested. Shout out to TYT. They're showing those clips. Shout out to the South Side and all of the other people that's still going head to head with ICE. So let's watch this together. Thank you for being here. Hopefully, I could keep y'all informed and entertained on this late night.
Say, I want to get involved in human trafficking and help these kids out. How did that happen?
Well, about 11 years ago,
That movie I was talking about, I think it's. I'm gonna look up the movie right now while I'm watching this. If it's called Kidnapped or something. Hold on.
And he said, Paul, he said, I know you've donated a lot of money to child-related charities. He said, I need to talk to you about something that's pretty dark. It's the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world. Good people don't know that it's happening.
Was it during Obama?
No, this was the attorney general in Utah.
Oh,
So
in
it was,
Utah.
yeah, it was our
state
attorney
State
general.
attorney general.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Oh,
he started talking about
the
these.
movie is Sound of Freedom. No, that is the mainstream one. Sound of Freedom was one of them. Yes, that's him. Sound of Freedom. This was in 2023 that came out, and they tried to really suppress that movie. So check it out, y'all, because that is real live breaking down of people who went into the sex trafficking realm or scene and save kids, and they have their own organization. They bring the kids home with them, and I don't know if he's part of it, but we're gonna finish watch this.
This operators who were in South America that identified some children. They had identified 50 or 20 children at the time in Cartagena, and they needed about $50,000 to help rescue the kids. I'm like, okay, I can help handle that. I was in a really good place. I had a very successful company. At one point of my life, I had 2 helicopters. I had a house with 10 bathrooms, 8 private suites, 3 kitchens, a basketball court in my basement. This was the lifestyle. So, it was all ego me. But yeah, I wanted to help kids with that. I think it was me feeling guilty for the massive success that I had. So I was helping wherever I could. Well, I remember when I made that decision, I thought, okay, do I just give money to the guy on the side of the street that's asking me for drug money? And I did. I remember I had a friend that said, Paul, are you really making a difference? I said, you know what? I can't judge. That could have been me if I wasn't in a healthy home. I said, but over time, I realized I was contributing to a welfare mentality problem. So over time, I decided to focus fully on children. I was on the Make-A-Wish board of directors for 7 years. I was the incoming chairman for Make-A-Wish in our area when I got that call from the attorney general. And so he tells me about child trafficking, tells me about these guys needed some money. So I helped to fund that mission. Then a few weeks later, one of the operators called me and he said, Paul, I'm here in Cartagena. There's not just 20 children here. There's more than 50, and there's more than 100 children in other rings that are tied to these trafficking rings in other cities. He said, we can rescue all of these 100 children on the same day, but I need your help. And I said, well, how much do you need? He said, I need you. Could you be in Colombia in 2 days? He said, the head trafficker has a piece of property. He wants to develop into a child brothel sex resort.
Oh
He needs
my
a few $1 million to
goodness.
build it out.
Do y'all hear this? Do like the Greeks sex bath that they used to do to us when we was enslaved by the Greeks? Oh my God. Y'all know I gotta take it back to biblical. Us before and they doing it now. These practices never stop. These people are Baal worshippers. They are satanic.
believes he can make tens of millions of dollars a year.
But isn't it illegal there? They're allowed to do that?
It's illegal most places in the world.
Yeah.
But
where he wanted to do that?
That sounded like the new Babylonian Israel. That's what I call Israel, Babylonian. because that ain't God's Israel there, and that's what they're fighting for, to keep um, uh, child bride marriages out there. It's disgusting.
That was it.
Well, here's the thing. There are certain countries, and I've been working in Colombia for the last few years and helping to change laws and policies. Here, when I did undercover work in Amsterdam, we couldn't find children for sale. Why? Because prostitution is legal, but it is very controlled. Right now, I'm not a fan whatsoever of prostitution. It has killed so many families. However, this is what I wrote to the Senate in Colombia. If you are going to legalize it, it has to be controlled, because if it's legal and to have prostitution and you don't have the girls checking in and having verification of their ages and stuff, it is wrought for opportunities for traffickers to traffic children without consequence.
Got it. Way.
Yeah, this was an island that he wanted to build it out on, and this was outside of Cartagena. You literally, at the time, you could walk down the street, you'd see police officers over there and prostitutes over there, and you knew for sure that was a 12-year-old. Without and when you see some foreigner come and pick her up, and the police aren't doing anything, it would happen all the time. So fortunately, those things have changed now. Colombia is now the shining example of how policies and law changes can make a huge impact in keeping the children safe.
Just a question. Epstein's Island, was there any jurisdiction over that island at all? Was there any supervision, any control whatsoever?
It's an interesting question. So back, yes and no, right? They're back at the time, back even 5, 6, 7 years ago, doing my undercover work. If you went to another country or you went to an island or whatever else, and you did something horrible with a 12-year-old, you would have to be prosecuted in that country in order for you to, the only way to be prosecuted in the US at the time is that we would have to prove that you while on US soil made the decision to go to that other country to do that horrible thing with that 12-year-old. Some of our people helped to make changes in the law.
That's stupid.
Where now you go anywhere in the world and you end up with a 12-year-old in that situation, you can be prosecuted in the United States, even if you're not prosecuted there, even if the laws of that country don't prosecute. And so it's amazing that has happened, because if you go rob a bank in South America, you can't get arrested and go to jail in the US for robbing a bank down there. You have to be prosecuted in that country. But if you go down there and rape a child, absolutely. The very second you come into the US, you can get nailed. Even after you finish your sentence, if they did prosecute you down there, you finish your sentence there, you come to the US, you get sentenced again here.
Oh, wow. That's double jeopardy, but I'll go for that.
Nope. If you're a US citizen and you go anywhere in the world and abuse a child, you can get prosecuted.
Is that a recent law?
That's within the last 5+ years. So super.
Okay.
Huh?
During Trump's administration?
It was during Trump's first administration. Yeah.
You remember when he was giving that tokenism? It was during his first election that law came out, because I'm like, whoa, that's good. And now he over there trying to cover stuff up. He'll sell you snake oil, knowing that that's what he drink every day, and that's poison to him. He'll sell it to you. Trump under Trump.
It for sure wasn't in the last 4 years.
All right. So let me ask you. So now you can rescue 50 children.
Yeah.
And that's what got you.
Yeah. So I said, well, what do I need? He said, well, I have to have somebody who can effectively negotiate this transaction with the traffickers. He said, I can't teach my Navy SEALs how to wear a $50,000 watch and negotiate a multi-million-dollar real estate deal. These guys are going to see through fake money all day long. And what's interesting, at the time I got the call, I was in Atlanta, Georgia. I was at a conference with 3rd-generation billionaire families, and I was raising money for my real estate fund, right? And I said, well, what kind of outfit do I need? And he goes, just come dressed as a wealthy playboy. And I looked down. I have a suit that costs more than my first car, right? I've got this conservative blue on the outside, but it's bright pink on the inside. I had a $50,000 watch. I had cufflinks that were $2,000 cufflinks. I'm like, I think I got the outfit, right?
Uh-huh.
So I jump on a plane. About an hour later, after I committed to go, my business partner, John Pennington, called me. He was the co-founder of the fund with me. And he said, Paul, he said, I heard through the grapevine what you're planning to do. He said, have you thought through this? He said, you're set. You can retire today, buy an island, be happy the rest of your life. And I said, John, would I really be happy if I bought an island, if I bought a yacht, if I bought another jet? I said, would that make me happy? I said, tell me this. If I was doing something else dangerous tomorrow, if I was climbing Everest tomorrow, you and I would have the same conversation. He said, yeah, we probably would. I said, and when I'm 95 years old and I look back on my life and I say, I climbed this mountain and I helped build this multi-billion-dollar company and I helped rescue this many children from slavery. Which of them matters at all? He said, you're right, Paul. He said, if your persona, if your skill sets,
Exactly.
if that's something they need, he said, I support you. I understand.
And I wish we had more people who were honorable like this. It's not even about being honorable. He wants to do something good with his soul. This man got millions of dollars. He didn't even have to do this. And he did it. I told you, money is not going to buy you happiness. It's what you do with yourself and how you contribute to society. So shout out to him. He gave a point to the billionaires.
Dad, you need to go. I said, even if I could only rescue one child, it would be worth it, right? And so 2 days later, I'm in Colombia, face to face with people selling me children. The interesting thing about it, Michael, was I thought, okay, these guys are going to have tattoos down their neck and 3 earrings in their noses. That's the look. And the first trafficker I met was a business owner. He was clean cut. He had a polo shirt, clean shaven. The second I met was a beautiful woman that worked with a modeling agency. I thought,
do you hear what he's saying? Let's put some pieces to the puzzle. Let's just use these pieces to the puzzle and apply them to other situations. Modeling agencies, Trump, Russia, models. What is Charlie Kirk wife? I'm just throwing stuff out there. Business owner who sold him a child. Come on.
you guys aren't traffickers.
Just were they married?
No, they were there working together with different,
But I'm saying neither one of them had a family.
No, but yes, the businessman did.
He did.
In fact, what was interesting is between the time that I first met him and that when the sting went down just a few weeks later, I was texting back and forth with him to make sure that he was bringing all of his inventory, etc., for me to make sure he had, so we could rescue him, right? And one of my texts with him, and I talk about this in the Sound of Freedom book that's coming out. He sends me a picture of him with his 3-year-old daughter in his back seat. Now, he wasn't trafficking her yet, but over time, most of these traffickers end up trafficking their own kids.
Oh my
So
God.
many times these
I'm
traffickers end up
sorry,
trafficking their own
y'all. You listen, it don't matter how many times I hear this and I expose myself to it, I'm appalled. I've been watching these type of videos, I'll say since 2013. Where I saw the first video I came across was these 2 kids from like UK, and they were being trafficked by their father through their school. It was the most horrific thing in story I have heard. So guys, please bear with me, because again, to hear that a father or a mother would do this to their kids is horrendous, and it's usually where they start. Because Bel worship and Phoenician worshiping, when they were giving up sacrifice, they were sacrificing their own children. They wasn't stealing other people's children. They got a little smart and started to take their maids' kids for offering, but there was their kids they were sacrificing, and they were sacrificing them for not survival, but they wanted riches, they wanted prosperity, they wanted their crops to grow abundantly, and just had all of these crazy wild motives to sacrifice their kids. it's just amazing to me that we have so many people like this that's falling under the radar. And again, at the beginning of the broadcast, I mentioned to you guys that at least I know of, not personally, but from on the South Side, two Democrats that have been charged, or not even charged, I can say, because you know how it went under the rug. Two Democrat elected officials who have been accused of sexual assault. Now, God be the glory, one of them allegedly is only for an adult, but the other one is for an adult and a teenager. And he used to work the beat of the street. And if y'all know who I'm talking about, if y'all watch me, his name is Andrew Holmes. He is a trustee in Dalton, Illinois, right now on the South Side. He has two pending lawsuits, one from an adult and one from a teenage. Well, she was a teenager at the time, victim, and she had been sex trafficked. And he was supposed to be working with an organization to help her get acclimated back into society. And all of a sudden, he was taking advantage of her. The second person that's elected or official on the South Side that has horrendous charges against him is another alder person in Harvey, Illinois, by the name of Mr. I think his name is, what is his name? Smith. I'll pull him up. He is an elder person, just like I just said, a trustee, and he's a town away from what I just told you. Both of them. I found this out last year when I was doing my investigation and I was dealing with the South Side. Did that's why I couldn't understand how the people would even stay to be in one political party when you see the corruption, when the people who you support is not getting these people out and they support these pedophiles and sexual abusers. It's crazy. So I just named two Democrats that I know of from the South Side that has horrendous track record related to allegations like this, and they're both in the same position. They're both in their positions right now. They're both in their positions right now. This is our country. Let's go. We we have to petition for our senators, our Congress members to put forth these laws or petition a bill that stops people from being able to get in political positions or positions with children who have track records like this. I even came across, yes, I could do reactions with y'all all day. I came across another one. I think we're going to react to it next week, where these two ladies, they convicted child artists. I mean, they look nasty, like just big and nasty. And one has a charge for sleeping with an 8-year old, sleeping with one with a 13. And then what makes it crazy, what bring it to our attention now is that they're running some type of nonprofit organization for kids, and it's going under the radar, and allegedly the town is trying to get them out of that position or stop them from doing it, and the law won't stop them. Like they're not violating anything. This is America. They're not going to fix it because they're on the list, y'all. We got to fix it. Now, I'm going to have to say this. I'm not a big fan of Marjorie Taylor, but I got to give it to Marjorie Taylor. At least she got out of her house, never ran for nothing, whatever she was doing, and went in there and ran for Congress. Did her thing. And she probably getting out because she see exactly what QAnon was putting in her head all that time. I'm just saying. Let's move on. Anyway, thank you for being here with Grace Levi as we do our late night reactions on the weekend. So if you ever bored in the middle of the night on the weekend, you may catch me one or two nights doing reaction videos to very controversy topics such as this. Hit the like button and thank you for being here.
Kids when they get older.
Wow.
He wasn't a trafficker yet, but what he said, this was so interesting. He said, he sent me a text and he said, after he had sent me that picture, and I was just appalled. And he said,
That's crazy.
Pablo, he called me Pablo. He said, Pablo, he said, I'm showing you my picture of her so you know why I'm doing all of this. I want to buy her Ferraris and make all this money for her. He said, I believe that God sent you to me. And what was going through my head is, you're right.
Because you
God
going.
did send me.
Yep, because you going to
Right?
jail.
So I can make sure that that child in your back seat
Yes.
never has to go through what these children are that you're trafficking today.
Yes.
Did you tell him that?
No, of course I didn't.
Later on?
Oh my God.
My gosh.
Yeah.
What kind of people are these? They got children and they're going to traffic other children, maybe their own.
Well, and
I'll tell you what we would have done with them. I don't know if you know my background.
Oh yeah, I do know your background, and
Yeah,
that's
your
what
background probably where mine's from, but you from another country. We from Haiti. We would have chopped off a few limbs and the extra limb. And yeah, eye for eye. We don't play these type of games. No.
all I wanted to
Been
do.
gone.
I was that very first meeting with these guys. I'm sitting there. I've got a Navy SEAL that's standing behind me. He's my real bodyguard and my show bodyguard,
Mhm.
right? And he's standing behind me. And one of the traffickers leans forward and he goes, Pablo, he said, I have a gift for you. I said, really? What's your gift? This is our very first meeting where we're negotiating this party. I'm telling him, listen, I'm willing to fund your project under one condition. We're going to have a party in about a week. You're going to bring all your existing inventory. If I'm happy with what I see, I'll fund your resort. We had to get him to bring all of their children to one place at one time so we
Wow.
could
So
rescue
did
them.
he think
I
you
know
were
that's
buying
right.
them for your own personal use, whatever you were going to do?
I told him I was giving him.
God, if I ever become a billionaire, I'm gonna do this too.
I was giving him
And
500.
I'm dead serious. If y'all know me, I would. What? That is a great heist right there. Big old dummy. You see what money make you dumb.
$500 per child just for 2 hours in the afternoon with him. That's why I was paying him, right? But really, it was just so that we could get him to
all
call the
together.
other traffickers, get them to bring all the children together.
That was a scene in the movie.
Yeah, exactly,
okay.
exactly. And so he was so excited I was willing to do that. He says, I have a gift for you. I said, really, what's your gift? And he hands me his phone. And there's a picture of an 11-year-old girl on his phone. He said, this is Princess. She's still a virgin.
Oh my goodness.
He said, he started talking about horrific things I could do to this little girl. And I thought, oh my God, I said, if we could help rescue these kids before they're ever trafficked in the first place, that would be a miracle. And then something he said made me realize he had more than her. I said, Fuego, I said, you say you just took delivery of some? I said, you have more virgins? He goes, oh yeah, I got 3 or 4 more.
Oh my goodness.
I said, you're bringing those to my party too, right? He goes, oh no. He says, they're too expensive. I said, too expensive. I'm already paying this guy $25,000. I'm paying him $500 per child just for that time. I said, he said, Jefe, you already paid $25,000. He said, you want to fuck those other virgins? It's going to cost you maybe $2,000, maybe $5,000 for that little one. It's going to cost you maybe $10,000 more. Now at this point, Michael, I am legitimately pissed. No acting involved. He's talking about these children like they're commodities. I've got my really nice suit, $50,000 watch. I put my hands on my chest and I said, you don't think I can afford an extra $10,000? He said, oh no, Jefe, no. I said, I want every one of those virgins at my party. I said, they damn well better be virgins when they get there. They're not for you. They're for me. You understand? He goes, oh yeah, Jefe, I understand. The stupid smile on his face. Now, the Navy SEAL that was behind me cleared his throat. I didn't check out the.
I know you checked out in your head. You probably want to rip his throat out.
The restaurant, make sure everything is safe. Later in debriefing, he said, you know what? He says, that little girl in that phone looked like my daughter at home. He said, I almost unholstered my weapon and shot him right there.
Probably had all to do to hold back.
Yeah. He said, but I knew if I did, he said, we would lose all those other kids.
I have a question for all my friends and followers. Have you tried my wine yet? You know.
All right. We're going to watch a little bit more of this, and then we're going to watch the thriller to the movie that they made. If you have not seen it, because they tried to suppress it, Sound of Freedom. Everywhere they tried to put it on, they tried to suppress it. But let's go. We're going to see the thriller after this.
The truth is, there was a lot of other operators that did some of those things. We all those stories together, right? And the truth is, and you read about this in the Sound of Freedom book, where the jungle was not even in Colombia. That was in Haiti. That was.
Did y'all hear that? So when I tell you Epstein was stealing kids from Haiti, you hear him now. This billionaire says it. They are stealing kids from the islands. So I'm going to let the Black community know you should be very appalled because they're not paying attention to us or our kids. When you look at the Epstein list and the women, they're paying attention to everybody else except for us. There is a Black woman, one that they gave attention to, and her interview was on the Shade Room only. Only. And we'll do a reaction to that to give our sister some But I'm going to let y'all know Grace is not lying. From life experience, I know they've been stealing our kids from Haiti. And he said it. That's what just set me off. Because I never watched the movie, because I would have been upset because I know all of this. I watched the actual videos that was buried, over the last couple of years. Because you remember when YouTube used to be good in 2012 and 13, where you could get everything? That's where my mind was already blown. So I went pat through the Finders, Johnny Gosh, the UK brother and sister. It was so many others that my mind was blown. So I was like, at this point, I will let the world realize this. And this was around Trump election, 2026. Again, he ran on that before, draining the swamp and exposing the pedos. And he's going to do same thing for this election and did nothing. He better be impeached or go to jail. Plain and simple. He deserves it. He deserves it. It ain't about hate. It's not about dislike. He deserves every bit of a jail cell, period. Because if this is some of the stuff that he's playing with, where he's throwing it in his constituents' face, oh, we're going to do this, do that, get y'all all hyped up, because I knew he was lying. Ain't no way. None of them billionaires or elected officials wanted this out. That's why I knew he was lying. And I knew why the Democrats was quiet. But he's throwing this in mega face that he's going to do this to y'all, for the country. And then we're watching this. Do you see the seriousness of this and how he just try to disregard, oh, that's fake news. The Epstein file is fake news. Do you hear the words that's coming out of this man's mouth? The restraint that it took from him to basically being a Navy SEAL, not him, but the other guy being a Navy SEAL, from basically ripping the other guy face off. Come on. We're going to have to do something, people. We're going to have to bring this truth to power. No more playing around, because they're not going to show us this. They're going to control the narrative, and they want us to fall in line. Why our kids are being taken. Again, also with the risk of being taken by impersonating ICE agents. That's what, yes. I got more videos where I'm finding people are impersonating ICE agents and doing all types of stuff. Pulling people over, chasing down people, robbing them. We got about another 10 minutes on this video, and then we're going to show you the thriller, and we're going to bring this reaction to end. I want to say thank you for being here with me, just allowing us to reiterate this very important information. Hopefully we'll get a few of you guys in the audience, and we'll be able to have a great conversation. Please hit the like button. As you guys know, my name is Miss Grace. I've been fighting to get back in the algorithm, and I'm just hoping that your likes and your support will do that for me. Let's go.
A lot of other operators went in dressed as doctors on different operations, etc. But all those stories really happened. They just didn't happen as we showed it in the movie. But that first rescue mission, the Jim Caviezel's like, only way I can pull this off is if I can convince Pablo to help fund it and be down here. Well, I'm Pablo in real life. I was running a multi-billion-dollar investment fund. I had a special set of skills from a previous life that makes me somewhat safe in a dangerous place. I was a rich playboy full of...
Let me find out this motherfucker. Excuse my language. Let me find out this is... I was just about to say it. Not Inspector Gadget, but y'all know that Billionaire at the back of the day? It's a character. James Bond. Let me find out he's a James Bond type.
Ego and pride and arrogance and lust. That's what the traffickers were looking for, right? And so in the movie, Jim Caviezel's like, he gives a picture of this 11-year-old girl to my driver, and that's what convinced me to go. In real life, I was already there. I was face to face with these traffickers, but him showing me the picture of that 11-year-old galvanized my commitment to help fund this, whatever I needed to do. Now, Fast forward 2 weeks later, we're at this island, the cities at the same time. A total of over 120 children.
Jesus
We're at these
Christ.
3 separate cities with these simultaneous operations going on. I was there in Cartagena. We're
Bear with me,
sitting there at
guys. I'm
this
cutting
island.
some things
These
off my
guys bring
computer, so my service won't work. Jeez.
$54 children. Almost every one of them were under the age of 16 years old in the house. So money changed their so they couldn't come out later and say, oh, I thought the kids were coming to a pool party. No, you said exactly why she was there, exactly what she was willing to do. And this was a dark conversation, probably even too dark for your audience. This was a dark conversation talking about exactly what they do to these children, what they're willing to do, what they're paying them, everything, what they're forcing them to do, et cetera. And so, and then halfway through this meeting, one of the traffickers gets up and he said, Pablo, I have to show you the gifts that I brought you. This is the moment that changed my life. He went in the house where the children are. He was there for about 10 minutes. And we could hear some of the men who were supposed to defile them, right? And pretty soon they came out and they had 4 virgins scared to death. They had 3 little girls
Old.
taken from Haiti. He was given cocaine that morning because he was so scared.
Oh my God.
A monster thinks that that's attractive.
Do you hear? We're going to play it one more time because I tell you, Grace don't lie. They were stealing kids from Haiti and drugging them and doing this to them. God, protect my people. Protect my people.
He went in the house where the children are. He was there for about 10 minutes. And we could hear some of the children crying. They were so scared of coming out and meeting the men who were supposed to defile them, right? And pretty soon they came out and they had 4 virgins scared to death. They had 3 little girls.
Old.
And 1 little boy. This little boy was 11. He was taken from Haiti. He was given cocaine that morning because he was so scared.
I will hope so. We're gonna. Hey, Michael, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna answer your question. I will hope they will do that. We'll talk about it.
I mean, what kind of monster thinks that that's attractive? Every cell in my body wanted to just hug these kids and say, you're going to be fine. You're going to see your parents again. I couldn't say that. And I'm sitting on this chair and they bring these girls out and this little boy. And one of the girls was the same one he showed me on that picture. And she's standing in front of me and she had red hair with braids down the back. Her shirt had a little kitty cat on it. She was 11. And her face had makeup on it that had been smeared. She had been crying. She was so scared of this moment. She thought that this was it. And everything in me wanted to just say, no, it's not going to happen. You're going to be fine. You're going to see your parents. I couldn't say that. I took her little hands. I'm sitting down. She's standing up and we're eye level. And I said to her, I said, ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? She didn't answer. It's because her real name probably wasn't Princess, right? She was trying to figure out what the traffickers wanted her to say. And I just said, está bien. It's okay. I couldn't blow our covers. The agents hadn't come to arrest everybody. We were still sitting there in the middle of all these traffickers. And I said to the traffickers, I said, it's not time for the party to start. There was a delay. The delay in the movie wasn't because all the kids were there. They were already there. The delay was because some of the child protective services people weren't there with the kids. And so I said, take them back in. We still need to negotiate our deal. And I'm trying to figure out how to delay so that they're not having these kids come out and be traumatized like that. And I said, you know what? I said, you've just proven to me that you could do what you said you would do. This is the inventory you said you had. I said, why don't you bring out these kids, you bring out this cocaine, I'm gonna have a great time. I'm gonna be fucked up for the next few days. Why don't we pencil our deal right now? I was simply trying to delay until the agents came. I had to bring out a notebook and a pen, and I started taking notes about a business plan. And I have negotiated hundreds of business plans in my.
This is very traumatizing, but I'm glad that he was able to think to kind of prolong this to get the agents involved. Now, this is just a short interview. Again, this full movie is known as Sound of Freedom, and we're going to watch the thriller, and I'm going to put the link for you guys so y'all can, figure out where you can go watch it. And then we're going to watch one more because this is pretty bad. We're going to watch Operation Underground, a short interview like this. And I want to say shout out to Michael. It's a Miss Grace. Do you think there might be a reference to this in the Library of Congress in the president's book? I would hope so. But the way United States is set up and the way they hide things and change history, we don't know what to expect. That's one of the reasons why we were, as the Black community, we were upset about them. They trying to rewrite our history, but we saw what they were doing, and it's us today, the rest of the world tomorrow. Now we have to come up with a plan, okay, collectively, how we're going to rewrite history or write our future. So I wouldn't even at this point care if the United States put it inside of, the Congress, the Library of Congress, because just like most countries, though, they're going to put what they want so they can be the victor. It's just pretty sad to me. It's pretty sad. All right. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. We're going to get to our last reaction. I wanted to do 2 today, but because this is really touching my heart, and then I found another one, but this is actually CBN News. Operation Underground Railroad, 6,000 trafficking victim rescued. True story hits big screen. Okay. So this is the Sound of Freedom. This is another uptake about it. But let's watch it. And this is what Trump built his campaign on. That he was going to do this. He was going to get rid of all of the pedos. I do feel sorry for Megan. This has to be traumatizing for you guys. Because he's a plain out lying, manipulating dog. And the things that he ran on was so serious and controversial, and for him to be like, fake news don't exist, and 4 days ago telling you it do, that has to be psychological warfare. It has to be. Let's watch this last part to see a little bit more about Sounds of Freedom. I'm re-promoting this.
Tim Ballard is a former federal agent on a mission to end human trafficking around the world.
He was a former federal agent, so he was like, "I had the skills." Man, you was FBI that turned a millionaire.
His Operation Underground Railroad has helped to rescue 6,000 survivors and arrest more than 5,000 perpetrators.
As you heard, he's ex-FBI. Ex-FBI.
Caviezel stars in Sound of Freedom, the new movie about Tim Ballard's real life. Ephraim Graham sat down with Ballard for a closer look at the true story behind the movie.
We intentionally go to the darkest corners of the earth where there is no hope and find these kids.
Cameras capture some of Tim Ballard's real-life missions to rescue children from sex trafficking. And
it's so crazy because when you watch it, you're not seeing our people, but this is our people.
Now there's an even bigger light shining in the darkness.
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's going to pass the drug trade. Because you can sell a bag of cocaine one time to a child 5 to 10 times a day. God's children are not for sale.
The Sound of Freedom, starring Jim Caviezel.
No tengo por rescatar niños, ¿verdad? Puedes ayudarme a encontrar mi hermana.
Te lo prometo.
Jim Caviezel portrays you in the film. Your thoughts seeing him on screen as you for the first time?
Okay. So this is the FBI agent that played a part in it too. Okay, that's probably the one he was talking about in The Billionaire. He said he had some type of, how can I say, survival skills, but he probably was an undercover agent too. Cause they probably retire and like, let's really save some people, because obviously being an FBI agent, they couldn't do that being an FBI agent. Because this is not the FBI doing this. And I'm highlighting this because FBI is a paid entity from us, the American people, and we can't even get them to do this. I.e., the first story that we talked about, where the gentleman, the hacker, tried to report it to them about the website selling kids, and what did they do? Ignore. Yeah, just hit the like button. That's why I'm suppressed, because I tell on everybody, on everyone.
It's really bizarre, first of all, to watch it. But Jim is a special case because I never thought this movie was going to be made, because from concept to screen, I think I read 5% make it to the big screen. A few years into their endeavor, I remember they showed up in, I believe it was December of 2017, and they said, hey, we're going to film this summer, and we need to pick someone to play you, which I never let my mind go to that place, because that's a strange question. Right out of the gate, I knew who I wanted. So if this is a real question, the answer is Jim Caviezel. And I was so adamant. And I said to them, look, I don't like Hollywood. I don't trust Hollywood. I don't know these actors. I know Jim Caviezel loves Jesus. And that's the only real requirement I have. It was like 4 days. They asked him, they skipped his agents right to him. And he had a really personal experience himself with human trafficking, and we didn't know about it. He jumped right in, and he's one of my best friends today. We're super close and talking all the time, and because he cares deeply.
How long you been doing this? 12 years now. How many pedophiles you got? 288. How many kids you found?
Take me back, I guess, to that period of your life. What was going through your heart as this is all unfolding?
There was a strange time during that really decade of working in the government, because we were discovering things, and sometimes I felt I was discovering things alone, because nobody was talking about human trafficking, and I would tell people these stories of the things I was coming across, and no one believed me, And the most frustrating part for me.
Wow, for an FBI agent to go through that, I'm not surprised, but it makes me not take things so personal. Because I've been telling people since a young girl about some of this stuff, and they be like, no, well, I'm crazy, all types of stuff. And this man, I knew it. When he was the FBI, he couldn't even do what he did. And that's what we pay for? And that's what you think is going to save us? You think we have a good system? Y'all think we have a good system? That's to all the political sides. This is the time where there's no turning back, and everything will be exposed. Every wound will bleed. Every cut will show. But the only way we're going to heal as a nation and as the people of the world and the body of Christ is for us to do it. plain and simple. Because obviously, when he was at FBI, he couldn't do what he just did.
Me was, in the U.S. government early 2000s, we were focused on the end user stuff.
Yeah.
The child exploitation material hitting someone's computer, but you keep asking the question, where are the kids? Where are the kids? Where are the kids? Jim Caviezel says a line in the movie that so represents how I felt, when it's like, this job tears you to pieces, and I need a chance to put those pieces back together.
So basically, he was saying while they were going after pornography, they were seeing kids, and he's asking, where are the kids? Where are the kids? But they're not moving forward the investigation to actually save the kids. This has been a slow growth, a slow and steady growth. That's why they got so gross with their behavior, like they can get away with it. After you go look at the video about the finders and how they got away with it and how the police sergeant and all these people were covering up, you don't think these people are going to get emboldened? Where you had that independent Congress person running for Congress, Mr. Lance, think that he can go just cross state lines and be in the airport with a 10-year-old girl or a young girl that's not his kid, and it just be okay. He just thought it was just gonna be normal. You know how many kids and women are trafficked at the airport? That has to be a national campaign. These are the things that we should be petitioning for and paying attention to, but they keep us willfully, soulfully, and spiritually blinded. Arguing, choosing the side, Democrat, Republican. And guess what? We're never choosing us. We're never choosing our family. We're never choosing our safety. We're going to finish up with the rest of this, and then we're going to get out of here. Again, hit the like button. I want to say thank you. And I don't know about you, but there was a few times within this broadcast that I actually wanted to cry. But I said I'm not going to be crying on the screen anymore, especially if I got to be a content creator. But it's really hurtful. It's really hurtful, especially when I know that they have stole Haitian kids. And the movie that y'all see probably wouldn't even portray my Haitian kids, but you saw videos of our brown melanated kids. Black America, wake up too. Because you guys y'all used to get on Mega about believing this like it didn't exist. And that was one thing I couldn't get, like that. Like, as far as QAnon, I'm not a believer or a fan of him. I knew it was a psyops. That's what I truly believe, a psychological experiment. But there was a lot of things that he knew. He was taking a lot of bits of truths, that whole psychological psyops, putting truths with lies and manipulation and gaslighting, which made them people go crazy. But when it came to the ex trafficking, the pedophilia, money laundering, the draining the swap concept, they were real. That's why Trump got those votes, because people knew they were real. It was real. It is real. But he's just playing a political game. And I know we're all done with that shit. I know I had Mega sounding like me. Oh, we're going to talk about it on Tuesday morning. Mega is sounding like me. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm an American. I said, yeah. He done woke you up. It takes the tragedy to wake you up.
This job tears you to pieces. And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
When God tells you what to do, you cannot hesitate.
And really, it was my wife who, because I could have been convinced that my own family was more important than someone else's, which is not true. But I could have been convinced that I can't afford to quit my job. And ultimately, it came down to a conversation I had with my wife in the second week of December of 2013. I was being, even though I'd had many very, very powerful spiritual experiences, both of us, that we had to do this. We had to quit. We had to pursue these operations. And I was so scared because I just come across these stats, and one of them was 5% of nonprofits don't make it through the first year. Less than 3% make it through the second year.
Mm.
And you compare that to a federal job, which is secure for your life.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out, and my wife had to remind me, and she did it in a very powerful way. And she grabbed me by the collars and she said, "I will not let you jeopardize my salvation," she said, "by not doing this."
I know that's right.
And it was just like,
we're home. That's how serious it is. Shout out to him and his wife. That's why I stand on the side of righteousness, no matter what topic it is or subject, because it is your salvation, and you will meet the Creator, Yahweh, according to the Bible, by yourself.
Land security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
Which means she'll disappear for good. Imagine walking into a room right now, seeing an empty bed. What we do?
You quit your job and you go and rescue those kids.
when she said that, that's when I really put it into perspective. You're right. Why are we here on this earth? Like, we're not here just to have fun or just live a life of ease and luxury or something. Like, and she followed up that little warning statement with, and if we end up living in tents because we have to sell our house, I don't care, because I'm more worried about my meeting with my maker.
Hey, you'll be celebrating Sukkot. Sukkot is a holiday where you live in a makeshift tent, because that's where we was living after the exit of Egypt and in the wilderness, guys. I've been studying all of our holidays as a Hebrew, so don't pay no mind to me if I'm bringing it up. That's why. Shout out to all my Hebrews. Shout out to Judah. Shout out to Levi, Simeon. Shout out to all of the lost tribes who don't know who they are. It's time. Wake up.
That was my wife's, lesson to me, and I was like, "You're right. You're right. You're right." So I leaned on her until I figured out my own faith, and then we jumped in.
Hey, Haitian.
Since leaving his homeland.
Haitian right there. I know my people. Do you see that face? I don't care what y'all say. That's my people. They were selling our kids.
And security job, Ballard's Operation Underground Railroad organization has rescued at least 6,000 children from modern-day slavery. He and his wife have even adopted 2 of them, growing their family of 7 to a family of 9.
God prospered us in the end, and as dark as the world got, I recognized for the first time, being outside the government, that there's a lot of light too that comes.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Orlando, Florida.
All right. I want to say thank you guys for being with me. I'm holding back a lot of tears. I did not know this was going to affect me like this, because I didn't know that they were going to really show Haitian kids. This is the first time that I ever saw them actually show any inclination of brown melanated kids being trafficked in something so big, and then for me to see my people. So to the ones who watch me in the morning, when I do Grace in the Morning and y'all hear me talking, I just bring that story to life to you guys, as far as them stealing our kids from Haiti and Epstein Island, taking kids from all over, not just the United States, taking girls from all over. Women is part of this as well. They're not giving them the respect, but there are adults that have been caught in the honey trap. This is what he used to do as well. So as we start to get more videos just highlighting this, some of these disturbing things, we'll be doing late night reactions on the weekends. So I want to say thank you so much for being here with Grace. I appreciate you. Please turn on your notification. I have to get in contact with YouTube, because my distribution is so crazy, but I do appreciate just having a platform and having a voice. You guys, I want to say I love you. Remember to love your family. Remember your salvation, and to stay sucker free. Have a great, great night.